actions. His actions led to the WBC decide something. And we did every single possible attempt to find a resolution and to avoid.
So damn, that was quick. The WBC have stripped Shakur Stevenson after historic victory versus Teofimo Lopez at Madison Square Garden, New York City, my city. Are they trying to get back at Bud Crawford, huh? Because Bud Crawford ain't paid that sanctioning fee, huh? And he trying to what, like...
The boxing world was thrown into chaos just days after Shakur Stevenson delivered a career-defining performance. Reports surfaced that he had been stripped of his WBC lightweight title, a move that sent shockwaves through the sport, especially given that it came immediately after one of the most dominant victories in recent memory. Shakur did not stay quiet. In a heated response that quickly went viral, he publicly criticized the WBC, accusing the organization of corruption and revealing what he believes was the real reason behind the sudden decision. Just 4 days after dismantling Teofimo Lopez at Madison Square Garden and winning a world title in a 4th weight class, the WBC announced they were removing his lightweight belt without any prior notice or detailed explanation. The timing alone raised serious doubts. Fans and insiders alike began to question whether the decision was driven more by behind-the-scenes politics and financial issues than by the fair application of official rules. What Shakur later shared on social media only deepened those concerns. To fully grasp the outrage, it's necessary to break down what happened step by step and why the situation has divided the boxing community. On Wednesday, February 4th, just 4 days after Stevenson's dominant win, the WBC released a statement declaring the lightweight title vacant. Around the same time, it emerged that Shakur had been issued a $100,000 sanctioning fee tied to the WBC 135-pound title. Shakur responded directly, saying he didn't understand the urgency or reasoning behind the demand and made it clear he had no plans to pay it. In its statement, the WBC explained that since Stevenson is now the reigning WBO super lightweight champion, their rules required him to vacate the lightweight title. They congratulated him on his achievement and described the move as standard procedure. However, people close to Shakur immediately pushed back, claiming the decision had nothing to do with regulations and everything to do with money. According to insiders, the WBC had been pressuring Shakur's team for weeks to pay sanctioning fees tied to the Lopez fight, even though the bout was not sanctioned by the organization. One source familiar with the negotiations said the WBC was seeking a financial share of an event it had no involvement in organizing or approving. The source characterized the situation as greed disguised as rule enforcement. Those demands reportedly intensified as fight night drew closer, with multiple messages sent requesting payment. Shakur eventually turned to X, where he posted a series of messages
and everything to do with
makes $50 million or around that. The WBC absolutely is not going to charge 3% of such an amount. We made a very clear 0.6%
WBC of misconduct. In one widely shared post, he referenced the $100,000 fee and said he would rather give the money to his daughter than pay it to people he believes do not deserve it. Shakur followed up with another strong message, stating that the WBC had no involvement in the Lopez fight and that their frustration stemmed from being left out. He added that losing a belt does not define him, underscoring a key point in the dispute. The Lopez fight was contested for a WBO title, not a WBC belt. The WBC neither sanctioned the bout nor oversaw it, and it played no official role in making the fight happen. For many observers, this detail became the core of the controversy. A well-known boxing commentator named Mannix weighed in with a post that Shakur later reposted in agreement. Mannix
They charge him $100,000 fee for the WBC 135 title. I don't know where the rush came from or if it's like a jealous.
Noted that the WBC had previously created interim titles to allow Canelo Alvarez to avoid facing David Benavidez. In contrast, they stripped Shakur just months after he defended his belt against the top contender. This comparison intensified accusations of double standards, with critics arguing that high-revenue stars are granted special treatment while others are penalized. Fans quickly flooded social media with reactions. One user wrote that the WBC consistently protects Canelo while stripping Shakur.
Thank you or I'm sorry, taking a different route. No response. I wish him the best. But this is not. The WBC is huge, it's great. It's about greatness, and I'm relieved, to tell you the truth.
Immediately after the biggest victory of his career. Another fan pointed out that Shakur had already paid sanctioning fees following his previous fight, yet the organization was demanding additional money. Not everyone agreed, however. Some defended the WBC, arguing that champions are obligated to follow established rules whether they agree with them or not. Still, Shakur's most serious allegation had yet to surface. In another post, Stevenson suggested that his situation may be linked to
Shakur Stevenson. I don't know, but look, that's not going to take away of the momentum of that victory that Shakur Stevenson had. Y'all already know he became a 4-division world champion, 2-division lineal champion. But to be honest, I'd rather have Shakur Stevenson in a 140-pound division. I think
the WBC's ongoing dispute with his close friend and mentor, Terence Crawford. He reminded fans that he had already paid the required fees for his most recent lightweight title defense against Williams Ida in July 2025. Sources within Shakur's camp confirmed that all payments for that fight were made in full. This raised a new question. If his obligations had already been satisfied, why was he being targeted now? Just 2 months earlier, the WBC had stripped Terence Crawford of his super middleweight title.
Pay them people either. I'd rather keep my money to myself. Do the same thing Terence Crawford did. It's other sanctioned bodies out there. It's other belts. It's never that serious. We know who the best is now. You see what he did to Teofimo Lopez. You've seen that.
Crawford stunned the boxing world in September 2025 by defeating Canelo Alvarez to become the undisputed champion. The WBC later claimed that Crawford failed to pay mandatory sanctioning fees for both the Canelo fight and an earlier bout against Israel Madrimov. WBC President Mauricio Suleiman stated that Crawford earned $50 million for the Canelo fight, but refused to pay a 6% sanctioning fee. Crawford responded publicly, questioning why the WBC demanded higher fees than other sanctioning bodies and noting that the WBO, IBF, and WBA had accepted his proposed payment terms. Shortly after being stripped of his title, Crawford announced his retirement from boxing on December 16, 2025. The similarities between Crawford's situation and Shakur's have not gone unnoticed, especially given that the two fighters are known to train together and share a close relationship. One gym insider claimed the WBC is aware of this connection and may be trying to send a message by targeting Crawford's protege. This theory has gained traction among fans because of the striking parallels between the two cases. According to WBC rules, when a champion holds titles in multiple weight classes, they are supposed to be given up to 15 days to decide which belt to keep. However, Shakur was stripped after
him $300,000 plus another $100K something for sanction fees, right? Then he gonna tell me I ain't even apologize? Like, who the fuck?
After just 4 days. This contradiction has become another major point of criticism and has further fueled claims that the decision was rushed and punitive rather than procedural. WBC regulations also state that if a champion competes in a bout where the WBC title is not on the line, they are required to pay 50% of the standard sanctioning fee. Sources estimate that this amount would be around $100,000. The same figure Shakur referenced. Critics argue it is unreasonable to demand payment for a fight
with $225,000 going to the Jose Sulaiman Boxers Fund, which is to help former fighters in need. And it is just regrettable, not even a...
The organization neither sanctioned nor supervised. Supporters, however, contend that these fees help support initiatives such as the Jose Sulaiman Boxers Fund, which provides assistance to retired fighters. Skeptics note that the WBC's financial operations lack transparency, leaving many uncertain about how much money actually reaches charitable programs.
More attractive fights in the 140-pound division, because if you would have gone back to the lightweight division, Muay Thai will probably be the most intriguing matchup. And
Veteran analyst Teddy Atlas stated on his podcast that sanctioning bodies hold too much power with too little accountability. Promoter Eddie Hearn added that rules should be applied consistently, not selectively. With Shakur's lightweight title now vacant, the WBC has indicated that interim champion Jadir Herrera could be promoted to full champion. Although Williams Ida remains the top-ranked contender, discussions are ongoing about whether Herrera will be elevated or required to face Ida for the vacant belt. Shakur has made it clear that
Beautiful performance he pulled off. There's no reason to pay them people $100,000. You can go back and get that belt anytime you want to.
he has no intention of working with the WBC in the future. His team is reportedly focused on pursuing titles with the other 3 major sanctioning bodies. He appears committed to staying at super lightweight and possibly moving up to welterweight, which could leave the lightweight division firmly behind him. Fans remain divided. Some view Shakur as standing up against corruption, while
Slap your fucking self. Ain't paying your ass shit. Fuck you talking about paying you $300,000. What makes you so motherfucking better than any of the other sanctioned bodies? Huh? Answer that question.
others argue that even unfair rules must still be followed once a fighter agrees to them. What most agree on is that stripping a champion just days after a career-defining win looks bad and harms the WBC's image. One respected journalist summed it up perfectly. This doesn't feel like routine enforcement, it feels like...
Well, it's very unfortunate. The worst situation, the worst decision that the WBC could ever take is to withdraw recognition of a champion. And I am very sorry for Terrence's actions.
Punishment. The fallout from this situation is far from over. Legal challenges, public disputes, and calls for reform are likely to continue. For now, Shakur Stevenson remains the WBO super lightweight champion and a 4-division world champion, regardless of what happens with the WBC belt. That's all for today. For the latest boxing news and updates, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay tuned. Until next time, peace.